Okay, darling, I'm cashing schoolgirl money. Of course, darling, that is what you can have here. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That the emperor is so obsessed with my money. Of course, Michael is so obsessed with my money, darling, that is what you can have. Of course, he killed me like a Carl and he wants my kids and he wants to give him the throne and things like those. Of course, that is what you can have here. Of course, that is what you can have, darling. That you know how them Italians are. Of course, they took kids from communist fathers, of course, and they are against the communists, and they took the kids off and take care of them. Of course, darling, the Italians have many kids adopted from communist fathers. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. Of course, one thing is being left and another thing is being left with a 30 silver coin bomb and cashing it. Of course, it's called destroying lodges chant. That is what you can have. Of course, that is what you can have. So go on. That is what you can see. Of course, that is what they want. Of course, that is what you can have. They want to put someone here and make him an emperor. Of course, they want that man Eva. Of course, and they want to bring an Aidan. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That they want that man Eva. Of course, that is what you can have. That is what they are trying the whole time. Of course, that is what you can have. They want to give her everything. That is what you can see. Of course, that is what you can have. They want to make her the queen from the Roman Empire. Of course, they want that my grandchildren are the emperor. Of course, I won't wanna be grandfather from the emperor, from the Roman Empire. Of course, because my blood deserves it. Of course, but they want to take me off. Of course, and things like that. But okay, what can I do against that? Just nothing. Of course, that is what you can have. Of course, that is what you can have. Of course, that is what you can say, that no one can against me. Of course, that is what you can have here. That they are all trying to make you queen from the Roman Empire. Of course, darling, the Axis are crazy. You know that, darling. Of course, and you are a child. Of course, darling, you're a girl. You shouldn't. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That Michael is so obsessed with my money. Of course, he thinks I'm the devil and things like those. Of course, that is what you can have. That Michael is so obsessed with my money. In reality, Romans are so obsessed with money from communist fathers. Of course, they took the money from the communist fathers and they adopt and kidnap kids from communist fathers and things like those. Of course, I already told something is being left and another thing is being left with a 30 silver coin bomb and cashing it. Of course, that is what you can have. There are different things. Of course, cash. I have the whole money. Of course, I'm in the school girl. Of course, they want to make it something like Maria. Of course, they want my $100 bill from the towers. Of course, that is what you can have. Of course, but I'm gonna give my girl the option of a choice. Of course, that is what you can have. You can be the Roman queen, of course, or you can forget about the axes and have 30 silver coins. Of course, it's your choice, darling. Of course, if you want to have 30 silver coins, just make it, darling. That is what you can have. Of course, if you want 30 silver coins, just call Your brother, of course, called the tiger. He's gonna shake his booty on the top. Of course, that is what you can have. That the tiger is gonna shake his booty on the top, and they can't against that. That if you want your 30 silver coins, your tiger brother is gonna take care of you. Of course, darling. And if you wanna be the queen from the Roman Empire, just do it, darling. That is what you can have. Of course, you think I don't want to be the grandfather from the emperor? Of course I don't want. Of course I hate the axis. Of course, darling, but okay. If that is what you want, then make it, darling. I don't care. That is what you can have. So go on. Of course, darling, that is what you can have, that they all want to have everything. Of course, darling, that I have to see this whole stepfathers with their tiny dick running after your tiny pussy. Of course, darling, that is what you can have, that they want to make you an Eva. Of course, darling, and you are just a kid. Of course, darling, you are just a girl. You are not more than 5 years old, and they want to make you an Eva. And I have to see these whole stepfathers with their tiny dick running after you. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. So go on. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That I have to see these whole stepfathers running after you. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. Of course, darling, that is what you can see, that no one can against me. Of course, darling, that I have to see these whole stepfathers running with their tiny dicks after you. Of course, darling, and you're just a girl. You're not more than 5 years old. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That you are from my 32 towers. Of course, darling, you're the schoolgirl from my 32 towers. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That I don't care. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That I don't wanna be with you. That I'm gonna be some kinda selfish. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That is what you can have here. That no one can against me. That I'm gonna be selfish. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That no one can against me. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That I have to see your whole stepfathers with their tiny dick running after your tiny pussy. Of course, darling, and you're just a girl. You're not more than 5 years old. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. Of course, darling, I don't care. That is what you can have. That we are gonna take her a drink and we are gonna have dinner, and I don't care for nothing. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. That no one can against me. And of course, darling, that is what you can have. That no one can against me. Of course, darling, that is what you can have here. Of course, darling, that is what you can have. So go on. Of course, we are gonna have Rodrigo and a lot of dinner. Of course, darling.